Hi, my name is Susan Weimer, and I'm here today with a video for Picket Fence Studios. I was up on their blog yesterday, and I completely forgot to post this on my blog. But anyway, here's a card I made with the Rose Bouquet stamp set, and I used an older sketch from at Freshly Made Sketches, which my friend Jen Timko is on their design team. So anyway, there's some cool sketches over there, and there's a good one this week. So I started out by first, trying to clean my desk. Sorry. Isn't this how I've asked this before. Somebody tell me if your desk looks like this. Okay, so now I am in this spot that must be about 15 by 15 inches wide. So I am stamping the Rose Bouquet set with Versamark ink. I've treated my arches, cold pressed paper with an anti-static tool, and then I'm going to apply some Ranger fine detail white embossing powder. Now, my thoughts on white embossing powder are that you should have both the fine detail and the regular. So I'm going to go back to that way that I don't have that right now, but there are advantages and disadvantages to both. And with this stamp set, using the fine detail was great, but I think for some of the other things that I've been working on the last couple of days, I would have preferred to have a thicker particled embossing powder. But anyway, so I digress. So what I'm doing is just making a background panel with this stamp set, which is just gorgeous. I have two no-line watercolors going. One's more of a fall base, and the other one, I don't know, when I was playing around with something. But it's also something that would be beautiful using your Copics, which is not why my Copics are out, but that's a long story. So I was just wiping off a little bit of embossing powder that got into the wrong spot. And then I also want to remark on that pencil mark that's at the bottom of my watercolor paper. I don't have my pre-cut sheets of paper very well organized, so I write on the top of them arches CP, and then I erased it. So that was going to be one of the things that I did this weekend. This is Saturday. And I didn't do it yet because the Picket Fence release, which is so fantastic, it's phenomenal, for October, is coming out, and somebody's cards aren't finished yet. So, which is why those Copics are out, because while I was doing this, I was also doing something else, which leads me to this. And there you can see the embossing, and I'm going to put it on, I have one of those plasticky, woody looking cardboard. They're not cardboard, they're melamine, I think, cutting boards, and I use that for my surface. So first thing I'm going to do here is just squirt some water in each one of the wells of my Magello Mission Gold 36 color palette. I've added some Daniel Smith colors that I use all the time. So I'm just doing that to reactivate the paints. And I got this palette because I was sharing a hotel room with a crafty friend, and she had hers with her, and I thought, ooh, those look yummy. And they really are. I've been playing with them, and I'm really enjoying them, although I still really love my Daniel Smith watercolors as well. So what I'm trying to do basically is come up with a final group of colors that I really love to put into a 12 color set. So when I travel, it's a lot easier, because I end up traveling between family and seeing friends probably every 6 weeks. And that suitcase gets pretty heavy, because I like to color at night, or if I'm at my mom's, she and I just sit out on her back porch and I color. It's not a porch, it was. She's made it into a 4-season room, and it's gorgeous. I just love sitting out there. So we sit out there, she reads, I color, and so all is good, which is why I got the Escoda Versatile travel brushes, and I got a 2, a 4, and an 8. So just buying them separately wasn't as expensive as buying the whole big pack. I know I'm not going to use things that are that size. So my thoughts on these brushes are that they hold their point really, really well. I really like them, but at this point, I'm not yet used to them. So I will decide after I go to a crafty retreat on, I leave on Wednesday. So I'll change my mind again about these. So I do like the number 2, which is what I'm going back in now, and I'm adding some color variation, some shadows to the different areas of the flowers. And I really like working on this little porcelain palette. But anyway, back to why I have Copics. I let my watercolors dry naturally, so while the paper is wet, the colors are still moving. I know everybody says that, but it's true. If you've ever done chromatography in chemistry class in high school or college or wherever, watercolor paper is the same kind of paper, sort of. Well, yeah, but it's porous, so the color moves around in the pores within the paper and is also absorbed into it. So if you air dried it, which I do sometimes, then the result you get is different than the one you get if you heat dried it. So anyway, I am often putting pieces behind me on another table to dry, and then I'm working on something else, which explains why the Copics were in that first shot and my keyboard, because I might have been writing a blog post. Sometimes I start filming and I don't realize what a mess I've made. And in this particular case, I have a sunbeam shining in the middle of my picture. So I am planning on doing some more work with this. I'm also following my friend Jessie Banks. It's Jessie Banks, and I'll put the description in it below. She is a card designer, but she also has a degree in art. And she's started up a color series on her YouTube channel called, Color of the Day, I think it is. But whatever, you'll see it. She's only done 2 of them. And I'm following along with her. She's using the waffle flower swatches as well as just some other paper to show different color mixes that you can do with various colors in your palette. So anyway, she's reviewed 2 colors so far, and it was so fascinating that I started a notebook. And what I found out was that different companies are using the same pigments or pigment mixes, but calling them different names. And they probably have different formulations in the way that the pigment is packaged into the binders and the solvents and things. I can't really explain that yet. The vehicles is what it's called. So anyway, it's fascinating. Go watch her channel. I really have been enjoying that series. And so the other thing that I do while I'm waiting for things to dry or waiting for an idea to come into my head is I get out my watercolor journal and start playing with a color. From right now I'm playing with this palette. I look on the bottle of the pigment to see what they call the pigment name. And then on there is it's usually like a letter combination, like P30 something or other, or whatever. And then I go online and I see what is the chemical name of that pigment, and then what is that pigment called in another company's mix. And so then I cross-reference it so I know, and then eventually I will compare the different pigments across the 3 different kinds of watercolors that I have. But I just thought that was fascinating. I if I'd taken one more course, I would have majored in chemistry, but I also would have gotten way worse migraines. Chemistry was fun, but it gave me a headache. But anyway, so that's the other thing. So when you're doing this, if you're a science person, think about this as science. So if it helps you to understand that this is like chromatography paper, then do that. Because that's how I've been able to work this out kind of in my head so far. And the same thing goes with pigments. There are inorganic pigments, there are organic pigments. There's another kind. Well, they mostly can be classified into organic and inorganic. I'm sorry, this is turning into such a nerdy show. Anyway, so back to the card, and now I sound like Kelly Lativola. Oh, goodness. So I mixed up this blue, and truthfully, right now, I don't remember which two colors I used to but I'm pretty sure one of them was Prussian blue, which is a little bit of a desaturated blue. So in essence, right here, I have what I would consider some colors in the B9 range in the Copics. And the flowers are really vibrant. So I wish I had used lightened up the pigment and made it more vibrant. Maybe used a cobalt blue, which is more like, I don't have my swatches in front of me. It's probably more like a B2 series in Copics. And that's the other thing I've been doing. I've been trying to think, okay, in Copic, this is a what color? So now I am splatting on different colors, and let this be a lesson to you. Don't splat this much. It just started to, I think, make everything more mucky. And so now I'm adding some Heidi Swapp gold. What is this, gold? I don't even know if it's made anymore. It's gold color shine. I've had it for years, and I'm just sprinkling it all over there. And then I'm reaching across to get my perfect pearls, because maybe that'll fix some of this. So now I'm going to paint with the perfect, oh no, I didn't do that yet. But I'm actually dipping my brush in there, and then I'm smoothing it out onto the flowers so that there's some shimmer. Yikes. Don't splat. Or if you splat, just splat sparingly. I don't like this. Too much splats. But hey, lessons learned, and I'm learning, and that's a good thing. Keeps your brain healthy, and I like thinking about how these things work. So I've trimmed the card down a little bit, and so the sketch called for, called kind of for 2 even panels and then a strip in the middle. So what I decided to do was change that up a little bit, and I'm going to white heat emboss the sentiment from the card, from the Rose Bouquet set, onto this Gina K Wild Lilac paper. I'm going to white heat emboss it. The strip in the middle, I have put through, you can see it there, a embossing folder that's a lattice pattern, and I think it was an old Sizzix folder. Honestly, I haven't bought a new embossing folder in ages, so I'm just going to use the Verse the Mark and get that on there really, really well. And this is the type of embossing where I think that the regular white is better. So I have to go back and put that back into my collection. I'll have to go do some shopping. Oh, that's so sad. So I keep my embossing paper. Oh my goodness. My embossing powder in these big containers so that I can just pull them quickly out and quickly off if I have those IKEA carts, and that keeps me organized. I'm just wiping off the excess embossing powder off there, and I'm cleaning my brand new mat because I'm trying to prevent it from getting dirty, which I've decided is impossible. And I don't want to get the glass mat because of the lighting situation in this room. The lights, it would bounce, and if it's lightning outside, if there's a thunderstorm outside, then the lightning's going to bounce, and I have my blinds closed. So anyway, I need to get curtains in here. This is a rambling video. So anyway, my advice on this watercolor stuff is that if you are a science person, and I'm going to trim up this piece of purple cardstock, is think about it that way, and then just start playing and mixing your colors and enjoying it. And keep a notebook. In the notebook too, what I'm doing is I'm using the leftover puddles of mixed paint, and I'm practicing my brush strokes because I'm really bad at those. So now we're here with the ubiquitous sequins. Yeah, I have to put them on there. Even though I have splats, I have to add some more dots. I love sequins, so, it's a bad habit. But, so I'm just going to put them on with some Novo Deluxe adhesive. And that right now is my adhesive of choice. And it doesn't seem to dry out as easily here as the other one that I was using. And then I'm going to add the little bit of glossy accents to the top. Learned that from Kelly. It really does hold them on there. And then I'm just going to put some clear Wink of Stella onto that white strip in the middle so that it has some shine as well. But there's the card. Thank you for being here today. Sorry for the rambling. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And I would love if you subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out and lets me know what kind of videos you like. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. And have a wonderful Saturday. And have fun playing in your craft room. Thank you.